Well, welcome to, I believe, the 13th day of the Great 50 Days. Now, if you're wondering what the heck is the Great 50 Days, look up my prior YouTube because actually, um, early Christians, when they see Easter was not a one-day event, it was a season, 50-day season. And I shared about that in my last YouTube, because starting on Resurrection Sunday, going all the way through Pentecost, that's the 50 days. I've shared a little bit more about the last time, but I want to get going on to it. And I like sharing the events of the resurrected Jesus during the great 50 days. A ton of them. The one that I wanted to begin with is found in John uh, chapter 20. In fact, many of you might have heard this preached or shared about on Easter Sunday. This is where Mary, and you read at the beginning of John chapter 20, verse 1, Mary goes to the tomb uh, and she's going to prepare the body for Jesus. And there's a whole reason behind that. She sees the stone had been rolled away from the tomb. Yeah, I read about this. And she looks in, and Jesus's body's not there, and she meets some angels, but then she runs back to tell the disciples. I love this event. And she said, I was there early this morning, and there's Jesus's body isn't in there. And they don't really believe her. In fact, let me, it's fun. Let me read to this, and starting on verse 3. Yeah. Uh, Peter and the other disciple. Now, when you hear in John the other disciple, John, the disciple who's writing this book, refers himself as the other disciple. Okay. Um, uh, but, okay. Peter and the other disciple started out for the tomb. They were both running, but the other disciple outran Peter. Now, I have to tell you something. I get a kick out of John writing this. Well, we ran together, and Peter may have been ahead, but I beat him to the tomb. I got there first. All right, John wants you to know that. And and he stooped, John said about himself. He stooped and looked in the tomb first. He he saw the linen wrapping lying there, but but he didn't go in. Okay, but I didn't go. And then you'll read about Peter barrels in. He doesn't stop. He goes right into the tomb. There are times when Peter's right on. He's right on. This time he's right on. He goes. You can't peek people. Maybe the message. Don't just peek. Go in and say that Jesus' body is not there. He's risen. He's risen indeed, right? You got to go in sometimes. Sometimes in my life, I still need to get in there and realize Jesus is risen. Well, then you go back, and they go back, and they may have said, "Well, yeah, she's right." And Mary, you read about Mary. Uh, she's at the tomb, and she's crying and weeping. And Jesus appears. She doesn't recognize Jesus. I'm going to get into that next week. Read Luke 24. But she doesn't recognize Jesus. And she's thinking he was the gardener, passage says. And he goes, "Why, please, sir?" And she's crying. If you know, do you know where they've taken Jesus' body away, the master's body away? Please let me know. I need to go. And she doesn't recognize Jesus. And Jesus just says one word, and then she knows it's Jesus. The one word Jesus says, Mary. He calls her by her name, Mary. People, here's the message I'm getting today. Jesus knows, first of all, go into the tomb. Know that he's not dead, he's risen. Go in there. But listen to him call your name. George, Frank, John, Mary, Ann. Whatever, Mary Ann, Gilligan's Island. But he's calling your name. Boy. And he's calling your name today. How fantastic. All right. Well, going to talk about next Friday or Saturday. I'm going to talk about another event in the resurrected Jesus' life and the great 50 days. But for that, go read Luke 24. That's a great one. God bless and have a great 50 days.